I call the member for Fairfax.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. And I have to say I was almost emotionally touched by the member for Adelaide for how she started her address today in this MPI, stating how much she wants to put politics aside and wants to work together with the government. And then, of course, she proceeds into tearing into a negative script against the government. No doubt following her fearless leader, who just seems to do the same, says one thing and delivers another, not unlike, in fact, her performance as minister for this very area, one who failed to perform, particularly in areas of compliance and fairness, and now, of course, claims the opposite. Mr Deputy Speaker, I'm delighted to talk to this topic today because there are three big winners with the Coalition's childcare package: families, women and children. As one of my colleagues just mentioned before, this will impact almost 1 million families across the country, allowing them to better balance the responsibilities that come with parenthood as well as work. When it comes to women in particular, we need to increase the participation rate in this country for women. And this package will see 230,000 families be in a position to either get back in the workforce, do more work, or just increase their level of engagement with the workforce. Now, those people in those families will be predominantly women. Children is a third demographic. Here we have, and we heard from one of the former speakers, a situation where we already have the Coalition cleaning up this space, getting rid of the shonky providers, getting rid of the dodgy childcare service providers. Now, I'm a dad. Mr Deputy Speaker, if a child of mine is in childcare, I would prefer they're actually, believe it or not under dodgy care. You see, this package is therefore good for families, it's therefore good for women, and it's therefore good for children. Three big winners. Now, in particular, the member for Adelaide mentioned about the importance of the people who are most vulnerable, and indeed this is key. It is why you see cleverly formulated in this package care for the most vulnerable families. It is why you see families who have an income of $65,000 or less a year actually see an increase in their subsidy rate from 73% to 85%. Now, for the members opposite, 85% is actually higher than 73%, which means for every dollar a low-income family pays into childcare, they get more subsidy back. So what that means in the real world is that's actually good, and it's best, therefore, for those families who are most vulnerable. And now let me move on to finish my address here today, Mr Deputy Speaker, with an explanation of why it's also just good governance. And it's good governance on a few counts. Firstly, it's good governance in the area of the activity test, another area of criticism from the member for Adelaide. You see, what we have in this package is an opportunity for increased hours of care for those people, those families, who are ready to use their own hours to engage in more work, training, study or volunteering. Here we have an opportunity again to get people re-engaged with the real economy. Secondly, we have compliance. Over the last year of the Labor government, you know how many compliance tests they did? They did about 500. In the last financial year of the Coalition, you know how many were done? Over 3,000. Now, with better compliance, new IT systems coming through, you have less cost to the taxpayer, which means, in summary, Mr Deputy Speaker, this is good. This is good for families, this is good for women, this is good for children. It's better governance, better compliance and ultimately better for the Australian taxpayer.
I call the